everybody, it's Whitney, and we're here at the 75th Annual WSWA Convention and Exposition, and I'm super excited to be joined by one of the brand new brands out here on the convention floor, Obvious Wines, and this is Bryce.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm excellent.
Yeah.
I was taking a little walk around, and I saw your wines, and it was eye-catching. I really liked the packaging and branding and wanted to know more, so I'm happy to have you here behind the bar and to learn a little bit more about Obvious Wines. So you're from France, obviously.
Yep.
I detect an accent.
Yes. Little accent.
Right.
No, big accent. But
and from the Champagne region.
yes.
And starting out in the beauty world, right?
Yeah. So
and cosmetics.
I started my career working for L'Oreal. I was working in finance in Paris, then New York, and then Los Angeles. Recently for NYX Cosmetics.
Okay.
So not at all in the wine industry, but I grew up in Champagne, and as soon as I started to work, I was collecting wine, and I've always been a wino and very into wines.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, we are all. But yeah, and so when I moved to California, first I discovered Californian wines that until now I was not even looking at.
Really?
As
a French wine
I
snob.
know, a French wine snob, but no, and I started to go to Paso Robles and Napa, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then the more time I spent with my wife, who's from Florida, and her friends, and they were always like, oh, Bryce, you have to pick the wine.
You're
like,
the
why?
French guy.
Yeah,
you have to pick the wine.
And then I realized there is this, inadequation between the love of wine, and people love to drink wine, and how they feel about it, and they always feel, pretty. Oh, I don't know anything.
I'm intimidated.
Exactly.
It's overwhelming to go buy a bottle.
Yeah, and I mean, most people in the wine industry know that already, but for me, it was, kind of a natural coming from where I'm from. So that's kind of how the idea started to grow. What if we were doing wine collections with very good wines, but with labels that are, informative and educational,
right.
And talk about the taste, and talk about the food pairing and the tasting notes. Really like key things that people want to know when they buy wine.
Right, and sometimes, I think people go into a wine shop and are completely intimidated and have no idea, and they just grab something that looks good and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
And this way, you're giving the consumers a little bit more knowledge to be able to purchase what they really want to get out of a bottle. And they can look at this red wine. So for instance, let's look at this red, which is dark and bold, right? So instantly you're like, okay, I kind of understand what that might be. And I love that you are saying that it's snob-free. and
I know it sounds hard to believe it.
And smooth and full-bodied. And on the back, you give a lot of statistics, kind of like the important information that, as a wine consumer myself, I would want to know, like where is it coming from, how is it grown, and you have a commitment to sustainability in your vineyard practices. So talk a little bit about that and why that was important to you.
So because, as you see, it's like, a very conceptual approach, but I wanted to make sure that there is this quality behind, and also that, in today's world, you don't need to have an organic wine. You can have a winery that has sustainable practices. So the first one that I'm working with, Broken Earth Winery, they have a gigantic solar panel. So when you drive to the winery, the first thing you see is, a gigantic field of solar panels. At the beginning, you're like, is this a winery or is it like a tech company? Yeah, and
solar panel company. Yeah.
So, but it's cool because 100% of the electricity is produced by that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of examples like that to me are, if we can make a small difference, even in the way we drink wine, then let's do it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important, and the way of the future for sure. So let's go ahead and give it a try.
Okay.
Let's pour out maybe the white first.
Yeah. So even though it's number 2, but yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
number 2. And we hopefully will eventually have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these are your first 2, and you've just launched a couple months ago,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah, and the number 3 is being bottled as we speak.
Okay, awesome. What's that one going to be? Oh, you can continue to.
So it's going to be just a pour.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be from Provence, a rosé, obviously.
Oh, okay.
And but it won't be a label. It's going to be engraved on the bottle. so that
Right.
when it's in the water, you don't have an issue for the with the
for
label.
the sweating, for the
Yeah.
label. That's a really good idea.
And it's beautiful as well. It's like very beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's give this bright and crisp.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is this from Paso as well?
No, that's from
this
the
is
Loire
from the
Valley.
Loire. It's wonderful that you're able to have a brand that is like, it's from France, from where you are,
Yes.
but also California, where
Yeah.
you are now, and had those two influences. And the Loire Valley is the most amazing place for Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, exactly.
This is great.
Thank
very,
you.
very nice and light and drinkable.
Yeah,
But,
and the
but isn't dumbed down. It's a well-made wine.
yeah, it's what I like is that it's citrusy, and it's kind of a classic, Sauvignon Blanc, but there is not like this herbal thing,
Right.
And it's very fresh, very light, very crisp, but also rich. It's not like flat.
Right. It has some
which-
texture
yeah.
and some depth to
yeah,
it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Yeah. Well done. So let's move on to
So I don't
red.
make the wine, but thank you. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, you have good taste in,
Yeah, but it's-
in the wines that you're creating and bringing to market, and that's very important.
Thank you. It's actually not just my taste, because the way we selected the wines is that we did a group tastings.
Okay.
So with like friends, and then now we're getting it, larger groups. We do blind tastings,
Oh, great.
and that's how we selected the white and the rosé.
Okay.
And it's like American consumers who come up with, sorry, you don't see, but the ratings here.
Right, so you have average consumers coming up with the ratings of citrus, fruit,
Yes.
dry,
Yeah.
as opposed to maybe a sommelier or something like that.
So we blend. Like there is also some sommelier helping
Okay.
us. It's kind of a blend of both.
Right.
But yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, let's try it. Should we try the
Yeah,
red?
yeah.
And this one is from California.
Yes.
And
That's
it's
from
a,
Paso Robles.
It's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot.
Exactly.
So a little Bordeaux style
Exactly. It's
blend. Okay,
Bordeaux
thank
style,
you.
but with the sun of California.
Yes, the California sun. And based on the label here, this wine's best friends are
Cheers.
are poultry, so roast chicken, taco, or cheese.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
But Thai food as well goes well, like a lot of things. But
Right.
yeah.
Or a Netflix movie, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Delicious. I mean, that's like anything that you'd want for a weeknight red, dinner party red at
Yeah.
home. And what's the price point going to be for these
So
wines?
it's on average $18
Okay,
on
great.
the shelf.
Yeah, I think that's a great price point. 15
Yeah.
to 20.
We really try to stay under the $20 bar.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to make a wine that is approachable. So if you go over, I think it loses the aspect.
Right.
On the other hand, they are like, estate grown and bottled wine, so it's hard
It can't
to,
be $10,
no,
right.
It's impossible.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I'm
thank you.
so happy to get to know the wines and to taste them with you. And best of luck out
Thank
here
you.
at
Thank
the
you so much.
convention this year. Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And thanks for watching WSWA
Thank you.
TV.